That's when it comes to sensible prepping or survival. It doesn't have to be an SHTF zombie apocalypse. But one of the things about being prepared for just things that happen in your area, like storms, will make you better prepared in a SHTF situation. And guys, honestly, if you have a tornado come through your area, it is SHTF. Maybe not for the whole world, but definitely for the area you're in. Last week we had a major storm come through. There were over 100 tornadoes in this storm system. It ravished the whole southeast. And in fact, my mother-in-law, brother-in-law up in Chattanooga, their house was damaged by tornadoes. A lot of houses were destroyed up in that area. And one of the big things that really came to mind while I was getting ready is the tornadoes were heading toward us, according to the news. And they told us to seek shelter immediately. It was really funny because as prepared as we are, we didn't have the supplies together in one place. And one of the things about a tornado is it can destroy your house, it can collapse walls, even the ceiling. You really need to have your supplies right there with you where you can get to them. We're going to go through just a survival kit for storms, the things that you should have together in advance of a storm. Now this could be a tornado, it could be an earthquake, it could be a hurricane, it could be a number, flooding, it could be a number of things. But this specifically addresses tornadoes and really strong winds. And one of the first things you need is a good blanket and a pillow, especially if you're having to get into a shelter and maybe it's your basement, maybe it's an interior room in your house that seems to be pretty protected. And so you want to make sure that you do have some way to stay comfortable. A wool blanket to me is really exceptional because it does wick away moisture, but of course fleece blankets, things like that. But you could be in there for an extended period of time, so being comfortable is important. Now having an emergency weather radio, I mean that seems like a no-brainer, but this is a great way to know what's going on around you to keep up with weather alerts. The one thing about this is it's battery powered, but it's also rechargeable batteries. It has a solar panel on here and it does have a hand crank. And so this is just great for any type of survival situation, but if the power's down, this is really a must. Of course, your regular cell phone is definitely something we depend on a lot. And should be working, but in case cell towers are damaged, which is a great possibility, or high winds, and so having some kind of backup. Having your phone fully charged is something you need to check, especially if the weather is starting to get rough. But which leads us to our next point is you need some kind of power source, and having a battery backup in case the power goes down. You can charge up your batteries on your phone, but also on your flashlights. And this is a great way, and of course Olight makes it really easy with these type adapters, but there's a lot of different rechargeable systems out there. And then go ahead and have some extra batteries. You can throw those in your light in case it goes dead without having to recharge it. And don't forget your phone charging cable. Now having tools can be very important in case walls collapse or doors could be blocked. Having some kind of prybar, having a hammer, having a way to shut off utilities, whether this is for water. We don't have gas, but definitely something to have a gas shut off could be very important with a lot of damage. Of course, crowbars are excellent, especially long crowbars, different type tools. A chainsaw is definitely something that could be, especially if trees are down. So having a good chainsaw would go along with a lot of this. But you got to make sure you know where it is, because when a house is damaged, a chainsaw could be completely destroyed. And that's really what it is about all this. You may have this somewhere and you know where it is, but you may not be able to get to it. Having your medical supplies handy, especially a trauma kit. If somebody's injured really bad and they may be stuck, having a cat tourniquet, chest seals, compression gauze, all that stuff, really important to have that with you. Now we have an extended bag here, and this is from AMP3. I'm a big fan of this. This is the Clinic in a roll, and it really gives you a lot. In fact, I have two of these, one in my Hummer, and then my wife carries one as well. But if we need it, we can keep this. This handles a lot of different things. So medical is extremely important in these type situations. Now guys, this stuff can happen at any time. It can happen in the middle of the night. So you want to make sure that you're not in your pajamas and you don't have shoes. It's one of the things we really realized the other night was we didn't have any kind of, sturdy shoes or boots right there with us. And so definitely a good pair of shoes and a good pair of socks. And definitely a nice change of clothes, because you never know. Again, it could be in the middle of the night. It was for us. It was 3 in the morning, 3:30 in the morning. And so we were in our sleepwear, pajamas, and having this, especially if there's damage and you're out working, having some good clothes is important. And when you're working, you need some good gloves. And you need rain gear. Guys, typically when there is a tornado or a lot of storms, there's a lot of rain. And so having a good poncho like this one, or just different type rain gear, I mean, you need it. Keeps you dry, allows you to work longer. And while a head cover is not super important, it is good to have. But one thing I like to have is a bandana, because I can cover my face in case there's a lot of dust and debris and there are things going around. Of course, you could also use one of the N95 masks or something like that just to cover up, to allow you to be able to breathe. And there could be smoke, could be a fire. So definitely something to cover your face. Have tarps handy. You may have some damage to your roof. You may need to cover it. It may be that you need to cover yourself. If you're outside, if your home is really destroyed, which happens, guys. I mean, it is amazing what these storms can do. And so having tarps available. We also keep around some of these heavy meal trash bags. And guys, these things are super strong. We get them at Home Depot or Lowe's. And they're just good and thick. You can actually cover up with that. You can actually do repairs with this. Add a little duct tape for repair, or add some paracord. That way you can utilize these to be able to help protect your home and yourself. Having water put back, and there's a ton of different ways you can do it. Bottled water, you can do something like this gallon jug. Just having some potable water handy to be able to drink. One thing too is, and this is really not as important except unless you're just stuck into an area, is have some food. And I like the lifeboat food because it keeps you from getting thirsty. And then also there's like 3,000 calories per bar, and these last about 5 years. So these are excellent for just grab and eat, and honestly, they're really good. Now guys, each area has different threats. We just happen to be in that area where we get a lot of storms with tornadoes. You may live on the coast with hurricanes. You may live on the west coast with earthquakes or different type risk. And again, you just have to evaluate what are the risks in your area and make a plan for that. This is just what I could come up with as far as what we needed the other night. When I was thinking about things, in fact, I talked to Sarah Mack, and she had some ideas that I had actually missed. So I'm sure that you have some ideas also, that please leave them down in the comments below. It's really important as a community that we can look at these things. Because the important thing here is, guys, is not that you watch my video, but that you get prepared for whatever life throws at you or blows at you. And guys, if you're serious about prepping and survival, check out the Survival Dispatch Insider. One of the best resources on the web to get you prepared. They use many top names in the survival world. We upload one video that's exclusive to the Insider every week. I'll have a link down below in the description. It's well worth checking out. Be strong, be of good courage. God bless America. Long live the Republic. But this specifically addresses period of time, so being comfortable is important. Man, these things are a lot of work.